Here's to hoping that the third time is the charm. I was just in the hospital parking lot, and I realized that somebody who I thought was parking was actually just backing up and waiting for my space, and I didn't want to be rude. So I just abruptly stopped speaking and then moved my car. I just played my absolute favorite game in the world, which is Can I Get to My Car Before I Cry? And I actually did. I did get to my car before I cried. The problem is that in the time that I moved my car, a few feet, I guess more than a few feet, I drove across the street into a shopping plaza parking lot. I started to cry, and I think I'm like allergic to crying. I hate it. I also hate crying. But I just left my OBGYN parking lot. Well, I guess the hospital parking lot that the OBGYN is in. And I went for an exam because of stuff that's happening. And I love this person. Oh my gosh, they are one of the nicest people in the entire world. And, you know, I'm a pretty open person, but I'm also like a pretty easily embarrassed person, and I don't really like to get personal, and I'm very much one of those, like, it's fine, like, everything's burning down, but it's fine kind of people. And I went to the doctor today to talk about some stuff that was happening, and I don't even know why I am. Well, no, I do. I'm talking about this because one of my goals has been to show recovery, you know. I started talking about like my carnivore diet that I'm still failing at, but the reason I'm doing it is because I'm trying to recover. And you know, I'm always inspired by stories where you know, someone talks about how much they struggle and how much they got to the other side. And the stories of recovery, I mean, they're inspiring. They really are. You know, they're my motivation for trying. But I think sometimes when you are not even close to the line that is recovery, you know, it's great to hear that somebody else recovered, but it seems so far away, you know, and I know it's so much easier to talk about your struggles once they're over, you know, and you can do it sometimes from a better state of clarity. But I think at the same time, you know, when you actually do recover, I don't know if it's like amnesia or what, but I feel like you, to some degree, kind of forget how much you actually did struggle and how hard it was to get there, you know. And I think one of the things that I'm hoping for is to actually to show the struggle, to show the fight, and then I hope and pray to someday be able to show the recovery, you know, the other side of struggle. And so while this is probably a complete overshare in the opinion of many people, maybe someday somebody will stumble upon this and it will be inspiration for them to go, or, you know, at the very least I can look back at how bad I was and just be proud of myself for not being there anymore. But I went to the doctor, you know, I'm going to keep this very PG, maybe PG-13. But I went to the doctor because I'm having a lot of pain in a lot of areas of my life, and there unfortunately does not seem to be any area that has not been affected. Literally in all realms of my life, pain have taken over. So I went to my OBGYN because I just wanted to make sure I wasn't ignoring something, you know, that was gone wrong. I just recently had my genetic testing done because of some, you know, because my grandmother had ovarian cancer. And I'm really fortunate. My hereditary risk of cancer is really low. and all that good stuff. But, like I've had some injuries. I had a separated pubic bone at one point. So I just wanted to make sure that like I'm not busted, that everything's okay. And, we had a conversation. I had an exam. And it seems like just like in so many other areas of my life, this is another place that trauma has kind of snuck in and, stolen my joy, robbed me of my peace, robbed me of a normal life. And, it's funny, I started the conversation very just completely like, stone cold sober. And I was telling my doctor that for whatever reason, I do have this unfortunate ability to sort of tell my story. Like I'm just reporting on the news and I'm very detached from it. But to actually be met with the level of compassion that I was met with, for some reason, that's actually harder. Not harder, but I feel like that's what triggered the tears more than the story. Because I know my story. I've said my story. My story has not often been believed. And I think at this point I'm so used to the complete dismissal of my story that like I tell it and I'm kind of just expecting. I'm expecting to be dismissed. And the complete opposite just happened, where, I was told that these things were valid and that they're real, and, that more women, I'd be amazed the amount of women he talks to, and the story is kind of similar. And there is no exam that finds anything wrong, but they're not. I think what's actually making me kind of cry is they're not dismissing them. So I guess they're actually looking to figure out a way, because it's a very busy practice, to almost expand and have like a mental health side of it, because of the amount of trouble that women have because of trauma. Because of things that they've been put through, the things that they experience in their day-to-day life. And instead of dismissing them as crazy, hormonal, just, irrational women, they're listening. And I don't know why that's the thing that's getting me. I feel like telling the story, like one of the stories that I shared with him, that should be what made me cry. But I've known that story for 20 years. Like, I'm sure if I actually let it make me cry, it would, but I don't. It's hearing that they're actually taking them seriously. They're taking us seriously, and we're not being dismissed anymore. And I don't know why. I don't know why that's what's getting me. And maybe it's just relief. I mean, it's part of it is relief that dismissal might actually be a thing of the past, at least here. Or maybe in some ways confirmation that I'm not crazy is actually harder than thinking I'm crazy, because if I'm crazy, well, then there's nothing wrong, and I can just work through being crazy and irrational. Where if there is actually something wrong, I gotta face it. I actually have to address it. And I don't know that I'm ready to do any of that, which is fine. I guess acknowledgement is still, acknowledging that there's something wrong that I'm not ready to deal with is still progress. Versus just complete denial. But so I left my OBGYN appointment with a clean bill of health, and now I guess I just gotta do the work. So I am starting, and I already had signed up for it and I kind of wanted to cancel, and now it's confirmation that I really can't cancel the more intense trauma therapy that I'm about to embark on. you know, he told me he understands that right now it's not really super possible, but I do need to get to a point where I figure out my schedule enough where I can make some time to do things, you know. And he said not for weight loss. This isn't like a weight loss conversation, but like whether it be that I can just go walk or go lift some weights or do something to get my endorphins flowing again. He even said, you know, you can try like a cold plunge. I've tried it. It wasn't super fun, but I guess I feel better after, so maybe it's worth trying again. So yeah, so that is what I'm going to be doing, and it is scary, but I think it's more scary to think about staying where I am, where I hurt in so many situations. I've gotten to the point I don't even like physical touch. Like, I don't like to be hugged or touched or anything because my body is just screaming, and I can't sleep at night, and I can't eat because I feel like I'm going to throw up all the time. I actually threw up yesterday right before getting in the car to go take my daughter to gymnastics. I coughed, and maybe it was just that I've had like a bad cough all week. That's why I didn't actually post anything last week, because every time I would try to speak, I would just start to cough and cough and cough. So maybe my throat was just irritated, but I coughed a couple times, and then I was throwing up in my side yard before gymnastics, and I just wiped my face off and got in the car and went. That's how unfazed I am by being sick, that I can throw up in my front yard and just go about my life. But so I guess that's it. I should probably get out of this parking lot, because at this point I'm just rambling, and I am gonna go get myself a cup of coffee and I'm gonna give my body a reward that I probably don't need, because I probably don't need sugar and adrenaline, but I want a cup of coffee and I have a headache, so that's what I'm gonna go do.